capable they are of being an effective business partner for you. And I'll tell you a story about my old boss, who had heard that in Santiago, Chile, which is a beautiful city, and on a clear day, there are beautiful mountains very close into the city. Some people, though, call them walls that hold the diesel exhaust in around the local population. So they have quite a pollution problem there, and the local government was putting in a regulation that they were going to put diesel exhaust purifiers, which is what we manufactured, on their fleet of city buses. So my boss did some checking, found out about 5 or 6 companies down there that distributed exhaust accessories or dealt with bus companies, and these 5 or 6 companies came back and said, yeah, we're interested in being your local rep here in the Santiago market. But one of them really stood out. They seemed to have all the connections. They were polished. They knew all the government officials. They had the technical resources. So my boss was so impressed with them that he went down, and instead of checking out all of his options down there, he just zeroed in on that one. They picked him up at the airport, they went out for dinner, they visited the government, they looked at the exhaust testing facilities, they drank wine to celebrate the success that they were going to enjoy together, and they dropped him off at the airport, and he flew home. Never did check out those other 5 companies, 4 or 5 others that were interested in the product. When he got back, though, he tried to follow up on all the business that they had planned on doing, and he couldn't get a response. They weren't returning his phone calls, they weren't returning his emails, and he did a little bit more checking and found out, to his chagrin, that company, who had taken a week of his time on the ground over there, was his arch competitor's exclusive distributor. So they had effectively frozen him out of the market and made that week quite an enjoyable week from the sounds of it, but it got him nowhere business-wise. So be careful about who you do business with. Your representatives and distributors on the ground down there are the key to your success. So it's real important to make the right choice in that. Finally, be patient but persistent. You'll find that doing business with some cultures, it takes a while to develop relationships, to get the technical information out there, to help them to make a good decision that's in your favor. And one example I have for that is a Japanese company I did business with, and we were selling a product to them, and every morning when I'd get to work, I'd start my computer and find an email from them asking for more technical specifications. So I'd get those together and I'd send them, and overnight, they would send a response, and they'd want more technical information, more application information. This went on for days and days and days, and I thought, guys, I've given you enough information. Can you please make a decision? So I finally went over there and worked with my distributor to meet up with the customer, and it was a big customer in Tokyo. But the fact, and I studied my Japanese business culture, I understood the little ins and outs of doing business in Japan. We met up and developed a good relationship. I made sure not to be my impatient self and take it easy and do this all very carefully. And when I finally returned from them, I had been successful, and we had a purchase order which turned into about $1.5 million worth of business. So you have to play by their rules. This is not North America when you're doing business over there, so we can't sort of go by the book. Everything is on the surface. You do have to take time to adapt yourself to their culture and do business their way if you want to be successful. How do you know you're ready for exporting? In our 15-step process, the first step is actually, or the first 2 steps are about establishing if you are in fact ready for exporting. So your first step really establishes, are you committed to the process of international business, and why are you doing business internationally? And the easy answers are obvious. If you sell more, then you have a lower cost per unit of production, and you can increase your sales and profits. But there are a couple of other reasons too. One is because your competitors are in your market. Another one is because it's fun. It's interesting to be out there doing business internationally. And also, companies who do business internationally are just tougher competitors. When you're out there slugging it out in international markets, you're learning things that you can apply that will make you stronger even in your domestic market. And the second step goes on to just analyze your resources. Do you have the people in place? Do you have the finances in place? Do you have the productive resources that are ready to take you into international markets? So in the first 2 steps out of our 15-step process, then you will have established if you're ready to go exporting.